Shema Israel. Hope you enjoy this next study. My name's Dee. This is my wife, Millie.
So if you like what you see, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you wish to reach out to us, you can email us at devotedtoyah@gmail.com.
I think we have that one actually. Let's go there. Hebrews chapter 10. For if we sin willfully, meaning on purpose and intentionally, after we have received the knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful expectation of judgment and fiery indignation which will devour the adversaries. Anyone who has rejected Moses, the law of Moses, dies without mercy on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. Of how much worse punishment do you suppose will he be thought worthy who has trampled the Son of God underfoot? How do you trample the Son of God underfoot? I believe in context is if you continue to sin willfully after you have received the knowledge of the truth. So at some point, those passages that say if your brother sinned 7 times, and it's, I mean, my goodness gracious, how do you sin 7 times? I hope that it's 7 different ways. I hope that it's not the same way. Like, how do you sin the same way 7 times in a day against your brother? That's pretty extreme. I would hope that Yahusha's bringing up maybe in different ways. You know, maybe you have issues with this particular brother. Y'all got some beef with each other, and you did different things. Whatever the case may be, I think that Yahusha, it seems like he's preaching that there is a limitless amount of forgiveness, but in Hebrews 10, we're actually seeing that there is a limit of how much worse punishment do you suppose will be worthy who has trampled the Son of God underfoot, counted the blood of the covenant by which he was sanctified a common thing, and insulted the Spirit of grace. All right. Another way this could be translated is another way that you can trample the Son of God underfoot is by denouncing Yahusha. After you have, or denouncing, the Spirit, denouncing God, that, once you've tasted like miracles or God's salvation, you've encountered his love and forgiveness, and then for you to say all of this is fake, I think that is definitely one of the things this is talking about as well. For we know him who says, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says Yahuwah. It should be Yahuwah. And again, Yahuwah will judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Matthew 26, verse 23. He answered and said, he who dipped his hand with me in the dish will betray me. The Son of Man indeed goes just as it is written of him, but woe to the man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been good for that man if he had not been born. That doesn't sound like a blessing.
Can I say something?
Yep, go ahead, D-Rail.
Right there, just what you said, like those who denounce Yahusha, it would have been good for them that if he had not been born. Because in my opinion, that's betraying.
Pretty much. For people who have tasted Yahusha's goodness, right?
And what Yahuda tasted it,
mm-hmm.
He betrayed him.
Yeah.
Yahusha, better that you weren't even born.
Yeah, Judah saw the miracles. Judah saw all the miraculous things that were going on.
Yep.
And despite that, he betrayed him. And that goes along with the Hebrews 10.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 9. But I have used none of these things. This is Paul speaking of himself. But I have used none of these things, nor have I written these things that it should be done so to me. For it would be better for me. I think he's talking about benefiting financially or whatever from preaching the gospel. He's not saying it's wrong. He's just saying it wasn't for him. He's saying, for it would be better for me to die than to anyone should make my boasting void. His boasting was in his confidence in his ministry, that Yahusha gave to him to do preach to the Gentiles and everything. His whole ministry. For if I preach the gospel, I have nothing to boast of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yes, woe is me if I do not preach the gospel. For if I do this willingly, I have a reward. But if, against my will, I have been entrusted with a stewardship, what is my reward then? That when I preach the gospel, I may present the gospel of Messiah without charge, that I may not abuse my authority in the gospel. So he's almost like cursing himself. Where is it? Woe is me if I do not preach the gospel. It would, right here, for it would be better for me to die than that anyone should make my boasting void. So these are like, it's almost like praying a curse over yourself, hypothetically. 2 Peter 2, verse 1. But there were also false prophets among the people, even as there will be false teachers among you, who will secretly bring in destructive heresies, even denying the Lord who bought them, the Lord Yahusha who bought them, and bring on themselves swift destruction. And many will follow their destructive ways, because of whom the way of truth will be blasphemed. By covetousness, they will exploit you with deceptive words. For a long time, their judgment, here it is, their judgment has not been idle, and their destruction does not slumber. That doesn't sound like praying blessings to those who curse you. Sounds like a curse from those who curse. 1 Corinthians chapter 5. It is actually reported that there is sexual immorality among you, and such sexual immorality as is not even named among the Gentiles, that a man has his father's wife, and you are puffed up, and have not rather mourned that he who has done this deed might be taken away from you. For I indeed am absent in body, but present in the spirit, have already judged, as though I were present, him who has done this deed. In the name of our Lord Yahushua Messiah, when you are gathered together, along with my spirit, with the power of the Lord Yahushua Messiah, deliver such a one up to Satan for the destruction of the flesh, that his spirit may be saved. All right, may be saved. That's that his spirit might possibly be saved, in the hopes that his spirit might be saved in the day of the Lord Yahusha. So again, another example. Doesn't sound like they forgave him and were merciful to him. There was a limit. It was
Yeah, they
definitely a
gave him
limit.
over to the evil one.
Yep. And that is it for that. All right, next. Prayer, the power of prayer and intercession. I'll give this one over to Ezzy from verses 12 to 13. We have this up here, right here. Ezzy, if you would like to read these passages and bring your talk about your breakdown, your understanding.
Okay, it says, now it happened in the process of time that the king of Egypt died. Then the children of Israel groaned because of the bondage, and they cried out, and their cry came up to Yahuwah because of the bondage. I guess I should start with the main point. So this is coming from verse Exodus 8, verse 12 and 13. It says, and Moshe and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moshe cried out to Yahuwah concerning the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh, and Yahuwah did according to the word of Moshe, and the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courtyards, and out of the fields. So what stood out to me before I go to Exodus 6:6 is just the power of prayer, that Yahuwah earlier had already determined the fates of Pharaoh, but it seems like he considered Moses's words. So Exodus 6:6 says, therefore say to the children of Israel, I am Yahuwah. I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. I will rescue you from their bondage, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. So he's already determined there's going to be great judgments. And then Exodus 7:4 says, but Pharaoh will not heed you, so that I may lay my hand on Egypt and bring my armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. So Yahuwah has already declared Pharaoh's going to harden his heart, and there's still going to be judgments. Exodus 7:13 to 14 says, and Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he did not heed them as Yahuwah had said. So Yahuwah said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hard. He refuses to let the people go. Exodus 14:10. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were very afraid. And the children of Israel cried out to Yahuwah. Exodus 15:25. So he cried out to Yahuwah, and Yahuwah showed him a tree. When he cast it into the waters were made sweet. There he made a statute and an ordinance for them, and there he tested them. Exodus 17:4. So Moses cried out to Yahuwah, saying, what shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me. 22:23. If you afflict them in any way and they cry at all to me, I will surely hear their cry. 22:27. For that is his only covering. It is his garment for his skin. What will he sleep in? And it will be that when he cries to me, I will hear, for I am gracious. And then Psalm 41. I waited patiently for Yahuwah, and he inclined to me and heard my cry. Genesis 18:17. And Yahuwah said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? So that one, the Genesis 18:17 kind of goes along with just another example of where the prayer or the request of someone that has a relationship or a covenant with Yahuwah is considered. Their request is considered, and making intercession on whatever Yahuwah's original plan is. Because like I said in the beginning, Yahuwah had already determined that Pharaoh's heart was going to be hardened and he wasn't going to let the people go, and there was going to be judgment. And then we have Moshe, asking for him to remove the frogs, obviously before it's time, just like Abraham, when Abraham was asking Yahuwah to consider, Sodom and Gomorrah, he in turn considered Lot, whereas, he was going to destroy the whole land. The other thing I wanted to add too, kind of piggybacking off of what you were saying about praying for our enemies, I think it's also wise to consider the wrath of Yahuwah when we are either praying for our enemies or praying against our enemies. I think you have to be somewhat solid. I think you said that. You have to be somewhat solid on, what the outcome may be, or knowing the consequences of your prayer, so to speak. You don't want to test Yahuwah, and play around with prayer, because prayer is very powerful. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that's good that you brought that up. Either way, we should pray for our enemies, whether you're praying blessings on them or whether you're praying the judgment and wrath of Yahuwah. The goal is we should definitely pray. That's for sure. I'm not going to promote that we should not be praying for our enemies. We definitely should pray. Covering all the bases. Yeah. All right. I think that's it for that.